Hello everybody, Coach Dave here. Welcome to this week's track guide. We're daily race C, Dragon Trail Seaside, in the Gr4 cars. Specifically, I'm using the Lamborghini Huracan. First time I've used it actually. I had to buy it this morning. Usually I try to get within 1 second of the top 10, or even the top time. And this week I am 6/10 away. However, I do suspect lower 144s, maybe even 43 high, and I guess that it's going to be in the Veyron, because this track rewards top speed, and if you can deal with the understeery nature of the Gr4s and maximize their power advantage, then you should be able to go quite quickly, especially the top guys. Okay, so the thing with the Gr4s is they don't have as much power compared to the Gr3s. You can't rotate these cars on the power as well, so you always got to make sure that you're doing as little coasting as possible, as little, I say flowing, which is when you're off the brake and off the throttle. In the Gr3s you can get away with that. In these cars, not really. I mean, obviously these cars in real life, you could do enough damage with them. They do have power in real life, but in this case here, well, if you are off the power too long, you're going to lose lap time. So, a couple of things. What makes that element, that characteristic of these cars, makes getting the ultimate lap times out of them very difficult. They are actually quite easy to race, because you don't spin out that much. So in terms of making mistakes, it's not a big deal. But when you want to set a good lap time, they become really difficult to extract the last few tenths, because you've got to get on the power so early through the corner that if your line is wrong, you're going to be understeering wide into a bush. Okay, so that's what we're trying to avoid in this car. We're trying to get the balance right between getting on the power as soon as possible while still having done our corner rotation sort of as precisely as possible. So with this car, you want to rotate the car on the brakes, and you want to be pointing it as straight as possible on the exit when you get on the power. Okay, so you have to be precise with your lines. Obviously, don't touch any walls. You want to be as precise as possible with your lines, and you want to be getting on the throttle before anybody else. This corner here is this is the most difficult corner on the track, because it's only understeer city there. There's no oversteer through there. So what you want to try and do is, I haven't quite got it right. My 145.3, I missed about 1.5 tenths in that corner by missing the apex. And my theory is that there's like a surface change there that's creating that problem, that understeer. Anyway, braking at 150 meters, you can brake later, but you want to get on that curb there, and then when you go through this right-hander here, you want to stay on the power. You don't want to be doing any lifting. The Lamborghini Huracan does do change of direction quite well. Clipping the apex here, the curb, and then braking in the middle of the dark patch, that grass. Getting the rotation done as soon as you can on the brakes. Pointing straight so that we don't have to lift off going down here. This section here is super important. Don't spend too much time off the throttle, because it is effectively a straight. So you want to get really good lines through here, minimize any sliding. The tire squealing is your enemy. Just drive as smooth as you can through there, get on the power as early as you can through there. Okay, now braking around 150 meters, it's downhill here, that's why you have to brake a little bit earlier than you think. Second gear, not third gear. And next lap we're going to try and hit the apex curb, because it's super critical that you use the curb there to get the rotation done. Chicane of death, clip, turn in early for the left-hander so that the right-hander is as straight as possible, and then staying close to the left here, getting nice slipstream from the guys in the race, and then you can try an overtake move here. One of you is going to be understeering, that's for sure. Just make sure that it's not you, make sure it's them. And then hopefully, ideally what you want to do is get as close to that curb as you can in the last corner. Okay, let's do another few laps here, so you can rev this car out. My brake balance is 4 to the rear. Okay, 4 to the rear with the brake balance. Braking around 150. Use the curb here as much as you can. And then quick hands to get the change of direction done. you can use that sort of bounce that the car gets in the curbs. At that moment you can change direction, which is why I say timing is the key to driving fast. Get the rotation done on the brakes. Accelerate up through the corner, getting on the power as early as you can, kind of like the opposite of what I preach when I'm coaching guys. Usually I'm like, wait for the apex, get on the power after the apex, but with this car, a fraction before the apex, if you can get on the power, then you are winning. Obviously in the race you have the benefit of slipstream, so if you don't get it perfect in the race it's fine, but we want to qualify as high up the grid as possible. Braking at 150. I missed the curb again, so I'm turning in a little bit too late, but I'm braking sort of where I would preach to you guys normally, which is 150 meters. You can use the curb on the outside to help you stop. Turning in early for the chicane of death. It is flat, as in don't lift the throttle, but you got to get your line right, and it's still, if you're on the wrong line, it's easy to make a mistake there. See, I will never find that apex, but I hope you guys do. So when you do find that apex, just send me a message to tell me what to do there. So I'm going to coach you for all the other corners on the track, because that specific corner is driving me nuts. Okay, we're going to do one more lap here, running through the gears, clipping this curb here, braking around 150, third gear, too much sliding, which results in me losing about 0.2 of a second there. I actually had to lift off during the transition, and that just shows you when you lift off in these cars, they don't have the torque to pull through and sort of hide those little mistakes that we can get away with in Group 3 cars. That's why it makes it so difficult to get a very fast lap time in these cars. Yes, they're easy to drive, but to drive fast you need a lot of precision. This corner here, this corner sequence, it's effectively a straight. This whole section here is a straight. So again, if you get that entry wrong, if you go in too fast and understeer through the first left-hander, you're going to be paying for it all the way up the hill. That was much better in terms of using the curb. You can see I found multiple tenths of a second there actually. That's quite a surprise. So pretty critical there. Look, I found 2.5 tenths just getting that line right, even though I braked a little bit too early. Whoa, chicane of death, guys. That's where it's all going to happen. Just be careful when you're exiting there. If someone touches the wall, you're going to be a sitting duck and you're going to hit them. Let's see if I can get the corner this time. There you go. That was much better. So braking even earlier than you think. That's effectively what you got to do. Okay. So that concludes this week's track guide. This race is going to be a lot of fun. I know it's been in daily races before, but with the Group 4 cars you do tend to get close racing. I hope you enjoyed it. Good luck to all the Gran Turismo players who are going to be in New York this week. Smash it. Good luck to Mikhail Hizal. I hope you get a good draw there, bro, on the cars. And then to also my mates who will be racing at the Suzuka 10 hour. Did that race last year and it was probably one of the best race experiences of my life, except it was very hot. Anyway, I will be doing some live streaming and daily races during the week, and until then I will catch you around the next lap. Thank you for watching. Catch you around the next one. Cheers.